You are listening to Lessons Learned number 14. Lessons learned is exactly that. Lessons that I've learned throughout the week. My hope is twofold. One, that you would not make the same mistakes that I have made. And two, that you would also begin a practice of pausing, reflecting, and moving forward. Again, this is Lessons Learned number 14. This one is all about how gratitude creates possibilities. Gratitude creates possibilities. When we operate in gratefulness for what we do have as leaders, it leads to the question is with what is possible with what I have. When we operate in bitterness, we're constantly looking towards what we don't have. And what ends up happening when we're operating in total gratitude, we are much more likely to hold firm on our values and our mission that we set as a team. When we operate in bitterness, which is constantly looking at what we don't, constantly being upset of what we don't have, when we operate in that mindset, it leads us to want to make short fixes and short compromises to what we know and what we believe is true for our team. So like we've talked about before with our program at Hanover, our program is built on CHIP, communication, honor, integrity, perseverance. And our mission is to use football to build better husbands and better fathers who show up, love, and don't quit. We have at times as a coaching staff gone wrong in constantly trying to cater towards someone and so fearful that they might leave our team, so fearful that this really good player who might not be buying in fully might leave our team, that it's caused us to make these small compromises in certain instances that we always regret. It boiled its head last year when we had a couple of our best players out in the toughest game of the year when we were playing against Highland Springs. And we had some really good players out. And it's not that these players were making compromises by any means. It's not that these players were bad culture guys by any means. But it was a really good moment for us as coaches because three of our best players were not able to play in that game. And these were players that we said we needed to keep healthy to have any chance at being successful that year. And all three of those players were out. And we are a minute away from beating Highland Springs last year, barring this kickoff return for a touchdown late in the game. We were a minute away from winning that game. And it was a light bulb moment for us as coaches. I remember sitting there in our Sunday meeting after the game, and I was like, hey guys, let this be a stake in the ground for us in this moment to remember that we don't need to make compromises. We do not need to make compromises. We will always figure it out. When we're grateful for what we do have, instead of constantly looking at what we don't, it's going to lead us to start problem solving, start being better critical thinkers, and just think about what is possible with what we do instead of always being so concerned with what we don't. Whether you believe it to be true or not, it's that story in Scripture where they have 15,000 people there. It says 5,000 men, but scholars believe there was 15,000 people there. And they were wondering how they were going to feed them all. And all they had was 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And the first thing that Jesus does is he looks up and he says, Father, thank you. Thank you. He operated in gratitude first. And somehow there's the miracle of the 5 loaves and 2 fish feeding everyone. But there's a principle, there's a lesson in that story when we are grateful for what we do have instead of constantly looking at what we don't. We're going to find solutions. We're going to find solutions. So for your team, hold true to your core values, hold true to your mission, be grateful what you do have, and see what's possible. This is Lessons Learned, number 14. See ya.